Hi, it's Jamie Smart here, and I wanted to take a few minutes to share something with you about money and financial security. You know, I ran a money program last year, and one of the headlines was "There's no such thing as financial security." And on the face of it, that sounds like a bizarre statement, but it's so interesting. I was running a NLP practitioner program a couple of years ago, and at the beginning of those programs, I would go around and I would ask everyone, what do you want? What have you come for? What do you want to create? And one of the answers I got from this chap was, I want to have £2.1 million in the bank. And I thought, well, that's very specific. He must have something in mind for that. And I said, well, what do you want to do with it? I assumed he wanted to buy something or something like that. And he said, well, I don't want to do anything with it. He said, I figured out, I calculated that £2.1 million is how much money I'd need in the bank to feel a sense of security. And what I said to him is that represented a fundamental misunderstanding of where your security comes from. And I was speaking at an event sometime later, and I was explaining where security really does come from, that it comes from inside you, it comes from deep within your consciousness. Feelings of security and peace of mind and well-being, they come from inside you, and they're always there, they're innate, they're a part of you, like your nose or your knees or your toes. They're part of who you are, and the only thing that ever stands in the way of that is insecure thinking. And I was explaining this to this group, and a chap put his hand up and he said, well, I've been with you so far, but when you say that my security comes from inside me, he goes, that's too woo-woo. He said, my security comes from the money I have in the bank. And I said, really? Would you be able to explain that to me? And he did, and while he explained it to me and the rest of the audience, I drew out a picture of what he was explaining. So I said, take me through it. And he said, well, there's me. So I drew a picture of him. And he said, and there's the bank. So I drew a picture of the bank. And he said, and my money's in the bank. Now at this point I didn't explain that his money isn't actually in the bank, that it's a collection of ones and zeros on computers flying around the world, because I thought that would complicate matters. But he said, my money's in the bank. And he said, and when I get my bank statement, or when I look at my bank statement, I drew the bank statement, lines on it, he said, that gives me a feeling of security. So I said, okay, so the feeling of security comes from the bank statement. And he said, no, the feeling of security comes from the money in the bank via the bank statement. I said, oh, okay, so it comes from the money in the bank through the bank statement into you. He said, yes, that's right. I said, and you call my explanation woo-woo and weird? See, I can understand how it would look like that. I know there's probably not anyone watching this, and I'm included as well, who if you suddenly got told that £1 million is being put in your bank, tax-free or something like that, that you would get feelings, and they would seem to be related to that. But there's a fundamental misunderstanding. What was going on for that chap, and what's going on for anyone who can identify with this, is that they've got certain background insecurities caused by the belief that security comes from money. And when they see money on their bank statement, when they see those figures, it quells those feelings of insecurity and they get better feelings. Their quality of mind increases. But actually, those insecure feelings are just telling them that their thinking is off base, that their thinking is distorted in that moment. And I'm not saying that you need to think something differently. It's that our feelings are pointing us to the fact that our thinking goes in and out of trustworthiness. Our thinking is sometimes more trustworthy, giving us a more accurate perspective on reality, and sometimes less trustworthy. I'll give you an example. When I used to feel a little angry, if I was a little bit annoyed, a little bit angry, well, I could cut people some slack, I could give them the benefit of the doubt. If I was really mad, I thought I was definitely right. Well, the truth, that couldn't be further from the truth. The more angry, the more upset, the more freaked out I am, the more warped my perception is, the less clear I am on how things are. And yet it looks, the more angry and upset I am, the more real it looks, the more accurate my perception looks to me. So there are times when you can't trust your perception. Because our thinking always looks real. I'm going to talk more about that on another video. But for the moment, what I'd love you to see is that your well-being and your security and your peace of mind always, always, always come from within you. And the only thing that varies how much of that you're experiencing is how on base or off base your thinking is, moment to moment. And your feelings will give you feedback when your thinking's off base. And all you need to do is nothing. All you need to do is recognize it. All you need to do is see that you're always feeling your thinking. And when I say see it, not as some technique to do, but more like an insightful understanding, just to get it. Because it always looks like our quality of mind, how we're feeling, is caused by our circumstances. It looks like it's coming from the outside, but it's always coming from the inside. We're always feeling our thinking. Thanks for listening.